What is going on, everybody? MaceValor, you're oh so beloved and glorious. Check it out. This is going to be a sit-down one, so put it in the background, go do something else, just listen, or you can watch and look at my beautiful face. I don't care. Do whatever the hell you want, but this is just going to be a nice little rambling session talking about the gig economy and you. This is something that has been on my mind for a while, and I recently took a trip to California. Just for a couple days, stayed with some family friends, and kind of did some back and forth. And it's nice to talk about the gig economy from the perspective of someone that works 1099 jobs, and speaking with a family friend who employs several people, utilizes contractors relatively often. So it came to my mind on the way home from California back to Las Vegas. I'm thinking like, wow, like this is definitely the future. But part of the discussion with me and this family friend, there kind of seemed to be a disconnect. Speaking with someone that works with contractors and speaking as someone that is a contractor, there does seem to be a kind of a disconnect. And one of the things that I talked about was DoorDash withholding people's tips, right? And this is something that I've talked about before, and I was telling him like, hey, I've worked with this one platform before, and they've been notorious for withholding tips. And instantaneously, his response was, oh, it's got to be somewhere in the contract that there's a cap. And I'm like, no, there's no cap on tips. And it kind of gets lost in the sauce when you're talking about someone. But basically, DoorDash's pay structure is set up the way that it is, so that the driver does keep 100% of the tips, but a lot of the incentives and bonuses, and even to a certain extent the base pay that DoorDash gives out, the tips offset that cost for them. So what I mean is, when you go on a dash, right, you're supposed to, in Las Vegas area, you get a minimum of $7, regardless of the trip, regardless of the distance. Minimum $7. All right, not too bad. It could be better, could be a lot worse, right? And once again, what are you doing? You're just delivering food. You're doing a very meaningless task. You're something very, 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 very simple. So from my perspective, $7, that's actually not too bad. You can whip out 2 deliveries in an hour, no problem. There you go, $14, right? The downside is the cost of gas that is filtered in, but that's just part of the nature of being an independent contractor. That's why you have this hope that your customers will tip well. The thing is, the reason why the standpoint has always been that DoorDash withholds tips, it's how things are paid out. Now check this out. If it's a minimum that you get $7 for the delivery, that's factored in as DoorDash pays $1, and then the customer will hopefully tip the other $6. If the customer doesn't tip shit, or the customer tips relatively small, then DoorDash has to make up the rest of it. They have to make up the difference. So the problem comes that I've seen. DoorDash has changed how it shows you what you're making, right? And the problem that I've always had was DoorDash saying, hey, you're going to keep 100% of your tips, right? Well, you go out and you pick a delivery, you get a delivery that's for $10. And then you get tipped more. But then when you actually look at the factor of how it's broken down, you only got $1 for the delivery, and then you got your $20 tip. Now, I've done testing on my end, and DoorDash guy's done testing on his end, and there's been all sorts of people in the gig economy that have done these tests, and we verified on our end the disparity of, if you do a delivery and you tip or you don't tip, right? We've had the 2 phones, one that delivers, one that picks up. You're delivering to yourself basically, and then you'll tip one time, and then another time you won't tip. And you kind of see how it factors all out. Now, the new way that they're doing it is with these bonuses, right? So let's say that you go out somewhere and, hey, for the next 3 hours, you get a $3-4 bonus on all of your deliveries, provided you complete a certain percentage of deliveries within that window. Essentially, 100% of deliveries. In 3 hours, you're not going to be able to knock out enough and decline 1 to factor into the percentage. So basically 100% of deliveries, realistically speaking. So you're going out, you're doing these deliveries, right? And you get this bonus. And so at the end of your shift, you did 4 trips in this time. All right, so we're gonna add $4 per trip. You're gonna make an extra $16. That's fantastic. That's awesome. How is that offset on the driver's end? Well, if a customer goes and tipped relatively high, DoorDash isn't paying that additional bonus. That additional bonus is being factored in through the tip. Now that's the problem that we're having, is we're told one thing, but it's really not the case. So that's kind of where the disconnect came from. He had a standpoint of it has to be in the contract. Now this is from someone that works with a company that's, they lawfully do everything in their power to make sure that everything's good on the company's end, and the people that work under them or work with them, the contractors, everything's good on their end. Everything is fully transparent. This is someone that's not used to how these companies, these platforms operate. So, we kind of just left the table the discussion from there, but I definitely want to share it with you guys. Because you guys, you're the ones that are working. And if you're not working, you're interested in starting to work in the gig economy doing some of these platforms. And it just pays to be very mindful of what you're getting into. Because, yeah, you might sign a contract that says you keep 100% of your tips, but it doesn't specify how that's specifically calculated. The example I gave is with the pay bonuses. You go out and do pay bonuses, that pay bonus is being factored in with the tips that you're getting. DoorDash isn't coming out of pocket for that if they can help it. Now, if your customers didn't tip high enough to the threshold to cover that, then DoorDash pays the difference, of course. For those of you just listening, sorry for the pause, had to take a puff. So one of the things about these platforms that gets me, I've been doing handy for a little while now, and as much as I do like it, now I noticed in the last video that I uploaded earlier, I kind of bitch, moan, and complain about, how things can be difficult. But for the most part, I do sincerely mean that when handy goes right, it's fantastic, right? The app is kind of self-sufficient to a point. But it made me think, Postmates. Postmates is the same way. If there's an issue with Postmates, you're kind of fucked. There's not really much that you can do. I had a Postmates delivery, and I spoke about this in the podcast before. I've had a Postmates delivery where I went to where I was supposed to go, but it was an office building. He put down the building's address, but he never specified the company he worked for, or the office building, or the suite number. So what am I supposed to do? I call him, I text him, I try to get a hold of him. I wait as long as I can. No answer. And I just left. I got free lunch out of it, and I got paid for it. But that sucks for the guy, though. Me as a driver, I want to be able to do what I can do to earn money, but I want to do it right. But at the same time, I'm on the clock. I've got a schedule. I got to worry about me, too. As much as I can provide a good customer experience, you got to be very, very mindful that you got to take care of yourself. So back when I was doing Amazon Flex, right? I would do my fucking deliveries and everything, and if there was a phone number to call, I would call it. I would do everything I can within reason to make sure a package could get delivered. But I would not waste my entire day for one package. Much like I wouldn't waste my entire day for one delivery. I wasn't gonna sit there for another hour waiting to get a hold of this guy. For all I know, he could have been in the middle of a meeting. Could have been. But is that my responsibility? No, he's the one that placed the order. He should have been mindful. And you can track it in the app. So at the end of the day, as much as I might feel like, oh man, I'm so sorry, it sucks that I wasn't able to deliver your thing. At the end of the day, customer has a responsibility as well. So that's another thing that I've run into with doing these jobs is clientele, customers. Now, I'm not saying that all customers do this, but I've run into this. GigStackers run into this. I'm sure DoorDash guys run into this, and anyone else working with any of these app-based gigs, app-based jobs, 1099, independent contractor, I'm telling you, they have run into the exact same issue where a customer's trying to get one order on. So you could say it's negligent, you could say it's this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, we know what it is, okay? Prime example, I'm gonna tell you a quick story about a buddy of mine, DoorDash guy, before I tell you mine. he had a job with Handy, right? The customer had several items, furniture assembly, that they wanted taken care of. And, he got paid X amount of dollars for these items, and it was going to take about, 3.5, 4 hours, something like that. He gets to the job. The items are far bigger than what he signed up for, and there was more of them. So with Handy, on the client side, you go in and you basically say, it shows you your furniture, right? Furniture assembly. Okay, small, medium, large. And it said, in this category, this is what we dictate as small, this is what we dictate as medium, and this is what we dictate as large. The customer went in and they put, 2 small, 1 medium. When in reality it was, 2 small, 3 small, 2 medium, and 1 large. Now, they have certain stipulations that when an item is of a certain size, that a second pair of hands is needed, which means that the customer is out of pocket for an additional person to come out to help out. Because for liability reasons, for safety reasons, you need to make sure that this is a large item, we need another person to come out and take care of it. But the customer, seeing that, and they see how it tallies up in their bill, they don't want no part of that. So what they do is they go in and they choose the cheaper options. So that when the technician comes out, when we come out to assemble your furniture, mount your TV, what have you, what we see in front of us is far different than what's in the app. And GigStacker, bless his heart, man, the dude wants to do a good job. He went out and started doing it, and then finally, we were talking on Discord, he was not having it, he wasn't happy. And then finally, I was like, dude, just mention something to the customer, have him tack on more hours. Because no matter the size, we get paid by the hour, not by the item. Sometimes it varies. Sometimes it does vary. Sometimes we do get paid by the item. It fluctuates very, very oddly. But there are certain situations where we get paid slightly more than hourly, but that's its own conversation. So he went to the customer and he said, hey, the app says this, but you got 6 items here. There's far more items, and they're a lot bigger. He was telling the lady this, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Can we just pay you in cash? Didn't tell him how much, didn't have cash on hand, but offered to pay cash. And this is what I said in the last video. When a customer offers to pay cash, decline it. Now that cash money in your pocket right here, right now, that's a very attractive thing. Do not get me wrong. I feel you 110% on that notion. But there's a problem with it. There's a definite problem with saying yes to the cash. And that's for liability purposes, and if let's say Handy were to find out, let's say the customer wanted to complain about something after you left, and they said, oh, well, I had to pay in cash, that's against the terms of service. They can kick you for that. So yeah, you might got paid in cash, but the customer, wanted to bitch about something, and next thing you know, you're out of a contract. You're out of your 1099 gig, They don't play around with that. You know why? Because Handy wants to get their cut. That's just how it works. So don't take the cash. It's even if it's right in front of you, don't take it. For the most part, if they offer it, decline it. Just decline it, because you don't want to fall into the trap where you do the work, then they don't hand you the money because the work's already been done. It's like, oh, work's done. Okay, thank you. Bye. Oh, well, what about the cash you said you're going to give me? Oh, it's in the app. It's fine. It's good. No, it's not. You said you're going to give me cash. It's like, oh no, you're good. Bye. Don't run into that situation. Do not risk it. If it's in the app, it's guaranteed. If it's set up in the app, you're good to go. If they say cash, that's all on you. And if you don't get paid, you can complain about the customer all day long, and I'll feel for you. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to feel sorry. I'll feel, hey man, it sucks. That's rough. Nature of the beast. You're the one that accepted it. You have no one to blame but yourself for agreeing to that sentiment. So, be very careful. And if you come up to a situation, hey, you know what? I can't do this. I can't do this. It's okay. So what GigStacker did was he told him, hey, I can't accept cash. I'm slotted to be here for X amount of time. I'll work on the items that you got up to that certain point, but once that point hits, I'm gone. The lady wanted him to complete as much as possible, got a hold of her husband, Her husband didn't include everything. He just added an additional item or two into the gig, so that as much as possible could be done within the budget that they had set in mind. You know, and then they'd have to hire someone else to come out and all that jazz. So they basically just tacked on more hours. Taking another puff. So for you audio listeners that are playing me in another tab, or if you have that YouTube Premium, there's going to be a pause. You know, since I started working with Handy, I've done less and less DoorDash. You know, I told myself, hey, if I'm free, if I'm not doing work, I want to keep busy, do DoorDash, right? And the only time I'll do DoorDash is when there's the bonuses. Because at least I know, you know, at least I'm going to get paid a little bit more. At least if they take my tips, they're not really going to be taking my tips. I'm going to be getting those through the bonus, you know, through whatever, you know. I'll do the bonuses if it's a good amount. For the most part, I don't even bother. It costs so much in gas. It's like, what's the point? Because I do spend a lot in gas still. I mean, I may not be driving around all over town doing deliveries, but a lot of these jobs are way on the other end of town. Way, way, way on the other end of town. All over the place. And speaking of all over the place, there's a job from a lady that has been trying to book me sometime on Friday. She has been trying. She's been going in. She's been on, like, she goes up into my, you know, my hours. She chooses me for the job. And then for whatever reason, it kicks her out. So I've been getting text messages constantly last night and this morning. And probably there's close to 20 of them. Where she'll book me for a job. And then the next thing you know, bam, it kicks me right out. Then she'll book me again for a job. And then bam, it cancels it. Book, cancel, book, cancel, book, cancel. And I'm curious, I don't know why that's happening. It's several days in advance. Tuesday night she was booking it. It should have been good to go. It shouldn't have been no last minute worry. Speaking of last minute worry, check this out. I forgot to mention this in the last video, but I found out while I was there with yesterday with the lady to help her move, I found out why the app was kicking her out. She originally had it slotted for 2 o'clock. But because her pod showed up early, she moved it. So when she moved it, that's when the whole thing, because she moved it to where it was like less than an hour's notice. And you do need more notice. So yeah, there's some issues on the app's end where it should have not even given her the opportunity. Like, hey, we can do 1 o'clock, we can't do 2, we can't do 12. You can push it like, it has to be far more than an hour. It has to be more than an hour to give people notice, you know? So that's something the app can do on their end, but at the end of the day, I'm not feeling bad for the girl. You know what, do I feel for her? Yes. Do I feel sorry for her? Absolutely not, because that's on her end. She, you know, I know life happens. I know that her pod showed up early. She wanted to get it done early. She's like, I'll pay the extra 15 or however much to move it up. But it was such short notice, you know, I can't feel bad that there was a complication with it. Can't feel sorry that things got all out of whack. I do feel bad for her, but I don't feel sorry for her. So, but that makes me wonder, why is it with this much notice in advance, why is it going on and off, on and off? Is she, I don't even know. I wish I could, like, from the user, like the technician end, I wish I could have some sort of explanation. I just have no idea. It's flabbergasting, the intuitiveness of the app. It needs some fine tuning. And I don't just mean the app, I mean their servers in general, because you can book things from their website. But for some reason, it's just not working properly, so, you know, who knows? So, one of the other things I want to talk about is TaskRabbit, because I've been doing TaskRabbit jobs as well, and I did not even know, I did not even pay attention to how to do this. When I first signed up for TaskRabbit, one of the things I wanted to do was IKEA, because I like getting paid flat rate. You know, with TaskRabbit, I've gone and done hourly jobs, and some of them pay relatively well. But the problem that I've had with those jobs is the, what is that? Is that I can finish, like, furniture assembly relatively quickly. So if I'm getting paid $20 an hour to assemble furniture with Handy, and I'm slotted for 2 hours and I finish early, I still get my 2 hours worth of pay. So I did 2 hours worth of work in an hour, and I get paid for that flat rate. That's nice. But with TaskRabbit, because I'm getting paid hourly, it's nice for the customer because, like, oh, if they finish early, you're not out of pocket as much. But it sucks as the technician because you're hoping to, make a good amount of money, but you finish so quick, And, like a lot of customers, when they see you get done early, they're like, oh, wow, you got done super fast. So, they're happy they don't have to pay as much. You get out of the job nice and early, but, you're not getting paid as much. Because you got to remember, a lot of these jobs, they don't come very often. These gig jobs, you got to be on everything. Because if you're not going to be getting the maximum amount of revenue. If I just did TaskRabbit or I just did Handy, I would hardly make any money. You got to be on everything to keep yourself busy. Did a Handy job this morning, then I went over and did a TaskRabbit job. There was another job that a customer hit me up with, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to do the job. And could I have done it? Absolutely, I could have done it. But it's just one thing; it just wasn't worth it for me. So I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just not gonna do it. And I told her, like, look, this particular job, I can do it, but I don't have extensive experience in it. So I think it would benefit you to hire someone else. And she said, thank you for your honesty, and cancel the task. Another puff. That's another thing. Is it a job that I could have done? Oh, easily, no problem. I could have done it. Did I want to do it? No, I didn't. Am I experienced in what that job was? Well, it was furniture assembly, but it was in a closet. And she didn't have the dimensions on her closet, and I kind of like knowing ahead of time if I can. And I was like, you know what? I can do this, but I'm just going to be honest with you. Working and assembling shelves and stuff in closets, this thing, I'll be honest, just go for someone else. They're probably going to be able to be a lot more accommodating for your needs. I don't want to come and have it be a headache or have it take longer than it needs to. So she was thankful for that, and I was thankful that I didn't have to go do that job. And it opens me for the other jobs in Pulse, which I will talk about Pulse in the future when I get on it. Back to TaskRabbit. So I didn't know that there's a certain way to get to do the IKEA jobs. The IKEA jobs are really the ones I want to do because they're flat rate. And they go relatively quickly. The downside of the IKEA jobs is the instructions, nothing's labeled. It's all pictures. So because nothing's labeled, it takes a little bit longer to find the right pieces, but it's manageable. It's manageable. It's not the end of the world. It just takes a little tiny bit longer, maybe a couple extra minutes per piece that you're assembling, just to make sure you got the right one. And for the most part, it's good. So I'm actually coming up close to home. Gotta pick up fucking dickhead. Sorry, trying to be family friendly. It's like the moment I go over, then he wants to cut me off. It's like, great. Well, not cut me off. He wants to do that whole thing where, oh, I got my turn signal on. Oh, so you're gonna now finally speed up. Okay. That's how we're playing this one today. Yeah, so I like the flat rate. It's great because I went to the job. It was slotted for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, something like that. I knocked it out in like an hour, if that. So, and that's why I love flat rate, because I get paid for I got paid like $60-something for a job that took me only an hour. So, I mean, it was way on the other end of town, and spending a lot in gas, but for the most part, dude, the drive there, the drive back, half hour there, half hour back, so there's an hour. So did I get paid for my 2 hours? Hell yeah, I did. No, wait, that job was $30. Yeah, that was a smaller one, my bad. That was a $30 job. The one on Friday is like $60, the one on Saturday is like $70. It's weird, just gotta go with it. So, this is what I want to talk about. So this is why I'm saying the gig economy and you. With my conversation over the weekend with a buddy and all this stuff, it's like, the gig economy is the future. It really, truly is. The 1099 jobs, it's definitely pushing away towards the future. Not as replacing traditional employment 9 to 5. No, I'm not going to think that's going to replace traditional employment. but I think is a viable option for employers looking for work, for people to get the job done. I definitely think it's the way towards the future. For people like me that are looking for a flexible schedule, looking for work, and are experienced in certain fields, I think it's great. Experienced in certain fields. So a lot of these 1099 jobs, independent contractor jobs, they're pretty much anyone can do them. But the ones that are way to the future, the ones that are going to be most beneficial for companies and also most beneficial for the independent contractor are skilled-based jobs. Like, take a look at Field Nation, for example. That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about doing independent contracts for various tasks that need to be accomplished, but it's given in a very particular field, right? So you're getting people that know how to do this kind of IT work, but you're not dealing with the overhead of having the employees that can do this work, right? You're contracting it out. So for companies, it's definitely the way of the future. For people like me, I would love to be on I would love to be in Field Nation. So this is my video challenge to somebody. If you guys can go to GigStacker, go to any of his videos and just spam him with these comments so he watches this video till the end. Let him know that I want to see this particular video from him. I want to see him break down a Field Nation job for someone that is interested in doing that kind of work. What do they need to do? What experience? What certifications? What does that person need to do on their end to try to get into that kind of work? Because I would love to do the Field Nation type work, but I'm kind of relatively clueless. I mean, could I go look it up? Of course I can. Of course I can just go look it up. I can go research it on my own. But at the same time, it's a great video for someone like GigStacker to make, and I want to see that video be made. So if y'all can help me, go hit up GigStacker, link down below. Like, subscribe, go check him out. Great dude, really knowledgeable about the gig economy. Go check him out ASAP. Go do that. And as always, thank you for watching and all that jazz. Do what you got to do. Own your success. My Twitter's down below. If you want to check out Handy, I have an affiliate link. Go check it out. Hit it up. See if you like being a part of it or not. Go do it. Check it out. It's going to be down below. What else? That's pretty much it. I'm just rambling at this point. The video's almost 30 minutes. Oh boy. Anyway, as always, this is your oh so beloved and glorious MaceValor, signing off.